Today, more than 100 state legislators from 29 states traveled to D.C. to stand in solidarity with the Texas Democratic lawmakers who fled their state to block that restrictive voter bill. They plan to hold a rally outside the Capitol tomorrow at noon to urge Congress to pass voting rights legislation. They will also hold private meetings with members of Congress. Joining us now is Florida State Representative Anna Eskamani, who is spearheading this effort to bring state legislators to the nation's capital, and Texas State Representative Trey Fischer, one of the Texas lawmakers who fled the state to stall a restrictive voting rights bill. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us tonight. Representative Eskamani, you really are trying to make the point that not only do you want to stand in solidarity with these Texas lawmakers, but you want to draw attention to the fact that this is not just a Texas problem. This is happening all over the country.
Absolutely. I mean, here in Florida, we are inspired by the Texas Democrats, watching members of the Texas legislature step up and step out and say, we're not going to play this game of voter suppression with you, really set the tone for other Democrats across legislatures in this country. And in Florida, we watched our governor sign a voter suppression bill to a Fox News only audience, which further amplified how this was a political attack on the right to vote and an effort to pander to his political base. So here in Florida, we are suffering the same efforts of voter suppression, and we have to stand solidarity with our Texans, but also fight to push for action in Congress.
Representative Martinez Fischer, talk to me about how this feels to you. You are getting this the summer of action. You're getting these people who were marching in Austin, the March to Austin this weekend. Now you've got people joining you there and more civil action. You have all individually made the case to Congress that you need them to put their back into this thing. You can't hold out forever.
Well, that's right, Ali. And listen, we are moving this needle inch by inch, day by day. It is a shot of adrenaline to have lawmakers from across the country stand with us. Number one, we're honored. Number two, we're humbled. Number three, it's just that important. This is a now or never moment for our democracy in this country. And we are going to keep pushing the U.S. Senate to give us we just need one standard when it comes to voting in this country, and that is an American standard. We do not need voter suppression. We do not need states to have their voices silenced across this country. We need the Congress to act. And when 100 lawmakers come together, men and women who have put everything, on the line, then we need to convey the message that it's now or never. We need to have voting reform in this country.
Representative Eskamani, what do you say to people, including Joe Manchin, who just talked about the fact this weekend, he said that the For the People Act would divide the country further. He and a few others are holding to this idea that if this is not bipartisan and everybody's not on board with this thing, it's not going to work. But it doesn't look like Republicans are going to be on board with it.
Well, we have to remember that these are the same Republican members of Congress that voted to not investigate the January 6th insurrection. So, I mean, with all due respect to Senator Manchin and others that are opposed to this effort, we have to remember that one of the reasons why we're in this situation with an insurrection taking place at the Capitol is because of voter suppression, because of a status quo approach to politics that has pushed out different voters, including voters with disabilities, Black and brown people, working class people, for being able to have their voice heard, to be able to have representation that reflects them and their values. And so it's really important that we stress to all members of the U.S. Senate that voting doesn't have to be a partisan issue. This is about the people of this country, not politicians, and we need to push to make sure that every person has access to fair elections.
Representative Martinez Fischer, your governor, Greg Abbott, tweeted out, "I will keep calling special sessions until we address every emergency item, including funding for foster care, property tax, and bail reform. The Democrats' decision to break quorum inflicts harms on the very Texans who elected them to serve." Your response?
My response is the governor had 140 days in a regular session to take care of the people's business. Any failure to do so is a responsibility he's going to have to bear. And make no mistake, we are not going to get steamrolled when it comes to voting rights in our state of Texas. We are going to stand up. We're going to push back. We are going to say no. We are going to rally this country like we have been. And like I said, we are honored to stand with 100 men and women from across this country rallying tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern, right outside the Russell Building of the U.S. Senate. And we want everyone to come join us because it is a now or never moment for this country.
And Representative Eskamani, are you heartened by the fact that there are people literally willing to put their bodies on the line? They were literally lined up today waiting to be cuffed.
It's inspirational, Ali. It really is. And it speaks to this nation's history of one that cares about voting rights, one that cares about democracy, one where people are willing to sacrifice their own livelihoods and put their bodies on the line to do what's right. And we are committed as lawmakers across this country to do the same.
Thanks to both of you for being with us tonight. Florida State Representative Eskamani and Texas State Representative Trey Martinez Fischer. We appreciate your time.